welcome to the Third Row Tesla podcast. We are Safi and Fraval and a bunch of other guys that I got here, the Third Row. We call ourselves the Third Row crew. We're just going to get right into it and start talking about the Cybertruck today. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody, and yeah, go for it. Omar, you want to kick it off?
Yeah, sure. So, we were all here at the Cybertruck event. They really built it up. Everyone was wondering, what the hell is this thing going to look like, right? And they brought the truck out. What'd you guys think when you first saw that thing? What was your first thought? Be honest.
My first thought was, yeah, exactly. It was complete shock, but I was relieved that we actually could see what it looked like finally. What about you guys?
I think I might be like the only person who loved it. The very second it rolled on stage, I was like, damn, I need this. And I really love like the brutalist design, and it was exactly what I expected. And it was exactly as cyberpunk and as futuristic as I expected it to look like. So it met and exceeded all my expectations. So I think I might be the only person who really loved it the first time I saw it.
It was a true test of human emotions, because I think everyone, for most part, excluding Viv, went through that process of like, what the hell is that? It doesn't look good. It doesn't look like something I'm used to. It doesn't look like something and everything from the concept of electric vehicles is new, right? It's all challenging the way we've done things for years. Same with this design, right? It's nothing today looks anything close to that. This is something straight out of a movie. And so everyone's initial reaction was like, hate it. And then but that was just on the looks. What really helps is that the stats on it was just like out the window and was so much better than anything that's on the market today. So it started to grow on you. And it actually, if you ask me now than before, I think it looks badass now.
Yeah, it's kind of funny how you saw everyone go through that evolution where, trucks have looked the same for so long that your initial reaction is kind of like, is that a truck? And we knew that, from his comments, like it's not going to be from everyone, that it was going to look kind of out there. But, it's funny how it did just start to kind of grow on everybody. And after you kind of get over the initial shock, I mean, people literally did think he was a joke with that truck coming on and just looking so unusual. And then the windows breaking. Like I saw so many comments that were just like, okay, is the real truck going to come out now? Like, they've just been pranking us. But, as time went on, people were kind of like, wait, I kind of really like the way this looks. And looking at other trucks just kind of look kind of like cluttered and, a lot of stuff happening kind of just in the front there, in terms of the way it looks. Whereas the Cybertruck just kind of looks very simplified, like minimalistic, kind of like the Model 3 interior in a way, just kind of like this super simplification of, the truck design. A first principles kind of truck design, if you kind of think about it.
Yeah, totally. Kristen, what did you think when you saw it?
I thought it looked great when it came out. It was different, as Elon had stated it would be. Definitely not a regular truck, but he told us it would be different. So I was expecting it. I don't know. I kind of liked it. I thought it was fun. It was different for sure.
This truck truly is a tough truck. I mean, you can smash it with a sledgehammer like Franz did and doesn't get deformed at all. A regular truck, you do that. Like every time I look at a truck now, I kind of tweeted and joked about it. You look at a truck on the street and then, I can imagine it getting hit by a sledgehammer.
Yeah, I think the really key phrase that he used was he said we need sustainable transport now and we need electric trucks now. And I think like understanding the design is really that question, like, how do we build an electric truck that can compete with gasoline trucks, right? I mean, it's not just an accident that sedans were kind of the first thing they chose. Obviously, for an electric car, a smaller car, a more aerodynamic design is a lot easier. When we have trucks, they need to, haul a lot potentially. They need to hit the price point to be competitive. And, they need to, they're not, as aerodynamic in terms of like an EV. It's the hardest segment to transition to EVs. So the whole design is kind of like an answer of that. Is like, how are we going to hit that 40,000, price point and be competitive? And really everything about the design, the stainless steel, not needing a stamping press, not needing paint, just the more aerodynamic design with the cover, nobody else is going to be able to match that, right? Unless you make a truck that looks like the Cybertruck or looks really weird, you're going to be stuck with kind of those aerodynamic inefficiencies that make it hard to get a huge range. I mean, you look at what Rivian's been able to do, even with a ton of investment from Amazon and others. They got 400 miles at a $69,000 price point. You know, Tesla is 25% higher than that. And I don't think you're going to see Rivian be able to compete with those kind of specs unless they, you know, really make the same kind of dramatic design choices. And that's going to be hard for other companies to do, I think.
Right. So you said like 25%. Sorry, right? 25% range, right? But the price is so much less. So I mean, that's the key. Is that they brought the price down and increased the range. So it's right. Competition is just they're going to be suffering.
So what I realized the more I saw the truck is that it's just as much cool as it is functional. And like they've totally reinvented how the truck is designed with, instead of like this chassis in the middle providing support, the exoskeleton provides support like a cockroach or like a bug or something. And that's just a totally different way to distribute the mass of the vehicle and has so many different effects. And so they're like cold rolling the steel, which is why they can't bend it. So that's why it looks so harsh angles instead of the curves. So I just been really trying to wrap my head around this whole decision to do the exoskeleton with the steel, because that seems like it's kind of changed everything else about the car, and is like the starting point of why it's so different. And the more and more I think about it, I'm like, wow, this is just as much like durable and useful and like economical and easy to manufacture as it is looking dope.
Yeah, it's such a functional thing.
What do you think, Vincent? What was your first reaction?
I think like the truck itself, my first impression is very unique. Like it looks actually fit with my expectation, because you can make a regular truck looking to compete with the original F-150 or Dodge Ram or the Silverado, because nobody's going to buy it. You have to make something like looks really, really unique. And when Elon announcing the price, I was like, wow, $39,000, like $40,000 starting point is not what I expected. Because from Ryan McCarthy podcast, he just said like it's under $50,000. So I thought like the standard model will be around $50,000. But when he announced like $39,990, I was like, wow, it's the end of the game. Yeah, truly. That's my thought.
That's why you bought four, right?
How do you think?
No, I bought two.
Good transition. I got three.
Yeah.
So how many of us have ordered one, or how many orders does this podcast have?
Oh, actually, my assistant, she
I got
ordered one today, so we got three today.
What do you plan to do with three, Sofian?
Because I remember when I got the Model 3, I had a Model S already, and actually that was the blonde one. I think some of you guys might know about that. It was one of the very original Teslas, Model S's. And because I already had one, I lived in California, it meant that I was going to get one of the very first ones that were made. So if I didn't have that reservation, I would have never got it soon. So I'm thinking like now that I have three reservations, I can get the very first Cybertruck that's made. So if it starts off with the rear wheel drive, I'll be able to either trade it in or maybe I keep it and turn it into a robotaxi at that point. So I've got options. So that was my strategy. That's why I'm keeping. And then I can use the third one for the tri-motor when it comes. Be one of the first to get that too. Just basically I want it as soon as possible, right? I would have it now if I could. But yeah, we gotta wait. That's the hardest part now. So what about you guys? What are your thoughts?
No, I mean, it would be a more rational choice to buy a Model 3, actually, for me, just because like Europe's streets are so narrow and I couldn't really park the Cybertruck anywhere. So I'm not sure what I'm gonna do with it once I get it. But that didn't stop me from pre-ordering one. So I mean, Elon announced on Twitter that they might make a smaller one, which I think would be more appealing to the European market, just because no one drives a pickup over here. So, but we'll see. I mean, even if I get the regular sized one, I think it's going to be awesome, and I think I can make it work. So, we'll see. Pretty excited to get it.
I'm curious because you were always thinking about getting a Model 3, but then when you saw the Cybertruck, I remember you turning to me and saying, I'm definitely going to get a Cybertruck instead. So I just love to hear about like like how that changed when you like when you first saw it, or what was the the decision
I think
there?
the most important point or reason was just the price point, because like the Cybertruck, at least the rear-wheel drive version, is just the same price point as the Model 3, the SR Plus one. So I don't know why get a Model 3 if it's a Cybertruck, right? For the same amount of money,
True.
you get more car for the same amount of money. So, and I think the Cybertruck is just awesome. You know, the Model 3, I've rented one when I was in LA, and
I think you love driving it so much you were just like staying in there the whole time.
exactly, I did. And I mean, I'd get a Model 3 if I was not, able to get a Cybertruck. I'd definitely get a Model 3, but I don't know. The truck is just so unique. Like no one else drives that kind of vehicle, except for other Cybertruck owners. So, I mean, it's just, I don't know. It seems like the obvious decision to make.
You also get that air suspension, which is we don't have it for Model 3. I mean, maybe we will get it now that now that the Cybertruck is going to get it. But I mean, that's the magnetic suspension, the dynamic one too. So it's fully adjustable. I mean, that's an amazing deal for what you get for your money, and they're probably able to save so much money in the manufacturing because they don't. Well, first of all, they don't have the paint shop, right? And then they don't have to mold these body parts. It's just like it's exoskeleton shell or whatever. So there's no frame as such like a traditional car.
The critical thing is like it's going to require less capex, right? They don't have to go out and buy a new stamping press to make sure they have the capacity. They don't have to go out and buy new paint shop capacity. I think Motor Trend was estimating it at like $200 million. So less capex, that not only means, less capex to depreciate as part of the cost, but also, it's going to be faster to ramp that production up. And I was just looking at this line from the Q1 2019 Tesla update letter, and I thought this was kind of interesting. We intend Model 3 to be the first step in a platform which we can use to cost effectively and quickly replicate across geographies and vehicle types. We have spent years developing this platform, and Gigafactory Shanghai and our planned Model Y production line will be the first to reap the benefits of this investment. So this kind of makes me think that, like, based on the price, like, I think Cybertruck is based on the Model 3 and Model Y platform. And that's really interesting because, I'd kind of like tweeted about this a while back, and I said, I think the Cybertruck could be built on the Model 3 platform just based on that 50,000 price point he floated. And people were like, oh no, that doesn't make any sense. The Model 3 is small, the Cybertruck is big. But I think that's kind of missing the point. Like with this Model 3, Model Y platform, what Tesla's built is really just kind of like the framework for a skateboard and a battery. And they've got the rear wheel drive, dual motor, all wheel drive, and triple motor configurations. And I think there's just kind of, it's similar to what Volkswagen has with their MEB platform. I think this is just kind of like this common next generation platform that Tesla's using to build all their vehicles. And, a lot of the short sellers have said like, oh, the Model 3 was a huge failure. Tesla put all this investment into it. And look, they've, barely made any money back so far. But I think Tesla's just really kind of scratching the surface. Is it just the tip of the iceberg of what that investment in producing the Model 3 actually is going to do for the company? Because they're going to be able to build the Model 3 off of that. They're going to be able to build the Model Y off of that, and the Cybertruck in Fremont, in Berlin, in Shanghai. And, so there's a lot of, if this is true, that these are all kind of built on the same platform, there's a lot of things to think about here, or, a lot of implications. Number one, it means that, any of these factories should be able to make pretty much any of these vehicle types, right? So, if you can produce a skateboard for the Model 3, producing a Cybertruck skateboard or Model Y skateboard is pretty similar. It, implies that air suspension and, some of these other features that will also come to the 3 and Y, which Elon had confirmed a while back that, never actually shipped. So it's pretty interesting thinking about, what this means. And they said several vehicle types. So see more? I don't know.
In China right now, the pickup truck is not allowed to get into a lot of like metropolitan area. Like city of Beijing is not allowed pickup truck to get in, but the policy might change in the future. That's what I heard.
Or they could be using
Is that
this
based on
other
size?
new vehicle, smaller one, right?
Or
If they-
emissions, or
small-
Yeah, because of the size of the vehicle, so it's not allowed to go into, because it's gonna create a lot of like traffic problem for the metropolitan area. So as of right now, they need to. I think the government need to work on the policy first. Yeah, for the China side.
Was the orders open to everyone in the whole world? Were there, or like, could people from China order Cybertruck too? I think I saw
yeah.
some.
Yeah, I see.
If
I
you
have
can-
a lot of followers. They actually ordering the Cybertruck, because if you look at the RN number, they start with
Yeah.
80. 80 is from China. From what I know, is from Beijing and maybe Shanghai, and beside that, I have to look into that. Yeah.
in Europe and China, traditionally, like pickup trucks have been banned because of their bad fuel economy and air pollution standards. So, I think the market for Cybertruck could potentially be larger and hit a lot of these areas where pickups aren't traditionally allowed, potentially because it's all electric.
Yeah, maybe a smaller version will work, but maybe like the government policy can be changed like anytime, maybe tomorrow or like in a month or two, something like that. The main reason is the size of the vehicle. It's not about, because if Tesla able to make like a smaller size of the pickup truck, that might work and will be a hot seller in China for sure.
Just the fact that Vincent has, followers reserving shows like there's demand for these kinds of things.
Yeah.
People want like a big American pickup truck, but they haven't been able to get one because of, fuel economy standards and all those sort of things. So, the market for this, I think, Gally was talking about this in one of his hyperchange videos, just kind of trying to estimate what the demand could look like. It could potentially even be much bigger than the market for an F-150. It's very much just kind of like a utility.
Yeah, I think it's crazy how much people are kind of overlooking the big financial impact this could have. That's kind of what I've been like nerding out on, is the Ford F-150 sells 1 million units a year, which would be like 50 billion in revenue, which is more than double what Tesla is going to do this year, and from one product. And it's like Ford's most profitable product by far. So it could almost the numbers that I see, I'm like, okay, 50 billion in revenue from the pickup justifies the entire market cap of Tesla today. So it's like, this could be, it's not just like a cool, quirky brand product. It's like, wait, Tesla's actually going to make like a ton of money from this potentially, if it's even remotely as successful as the Ford F-150. And what has Tesla done in every vehicle category they enter? They usually crush whoever's number one. So it's hard to even think about what that would mean for the financials. But I just don't, like, I've really been spending a lot of time, and I'm like, wait, this could actually really move the needle. And especially if you consider that it's really useful. It's going to last forever, super durable. You can plug in your power tools. There could be an economical case to use it if you're in a construction. So I think the demand is going to surprise to the upside. My guess right now is like 350,000 units a year at maturity, which I think is like very conservative, but that is still kind of a needle mover.
Like obviously you've got the truck market, but going back to one thing that Viv mentioned was that, between a Model 3 and a Cybertruck, right? She chose the Cybertruck. And I think that was very interesting. The way Tesla priced it is because now when you're looking at it and you're looking at a Model 3 or a Cybertruck, how many more would side with Cybertruck, even though they may not even need a truck in their life? So that's where I think it kind of goes to what, Gally was saying about that, we're opening up, a lot more potential customers, more than just your truck buyer. I myself pre-ordered a Cybertruck. Do I need a truck? No. But when I look at a growing family and needing more space, Cybertruck or Model X, I'm going to lean towards the Cybertruck.
And we haven't even talked about robotaxi and the applications of full self-driving yet. I mean, there's so many different things that we can't even fathom Like I think we were talking recently, and Kristen had mentioned, yeah, we could set it up as a mobile printer or something, right? Or what about pizza delivery? I mean, you could just go out and deliver pizzas for you. It's amazing.
I mean, even leaving aside that, this is the thing. We've all been talking about how, Tesla has this great technology. They're so ahead of everyone else. But the fact is, number one segment in the US, pickup trucks. Tesla's not competing. Number two segment, affordable SUVs. Tesla's not competing. So really, they've only been competing in this tiny, tiny segment of the market. And they just became kind of a big boy company with their first mass-produced car, which is like going to a lot of customers that they actually have to figure out how to service and all that.
And people are loving those cars.
Yeah. But if you look at the 250,000 pre-orders, and Elon shared the mix, it's about an average price of $60,000. That's $15 billion. If you go off Galley's 350,000 units, that's $21 billion. That's like as much revenue as Tesla made in the last 12 months just from this one product. And, the market for pickup trucks is huge. And it's even more favorable of a comparison for Tesla. I mean, you look at the Model 3. Your average BMW 3 Series started at 35,000. So they said, okay, we're going to start at 35,000 and take on the sedan market. But in the sedan market, people aren't driving BMWs. Some people are if they can afford it. People are driving Hondas. They're driving Priuses. They're driving Camrys, right? With a much lower starting price. For the pickup truck, you've got a market today where the average selling price is $48,000, right? So you're looking at an electric truck that has sticker price parity, right? And that's a starting price. With Legacy Auto, it's like you got to add in all those packages, right? So it's going to end up being a lot more than that. But 48,000 average selling price, and then that's even before you factor in the gas. And guess what? Sedans get decent gas mileage, maybe 25, 50 miles per gallon. Trucks are getting like 15 to 25. So the gas price comparison is even better than a sedan, right? And it's just kind of like, okay, wow, we're just getting started here. This is just the tip of the iceberg. And for these new vehicle segments, and this is the next question I kind of want to pose to the group is like, sure, if you like Tesla, if you like autopilot, you might be interested in the Cybertruck, but are traditional truck buyers, people who are buying the F-150, are they going to switch to Cybertruck? Do you guys see that as something that's going to happen in large numbers, maybe only a small number? Personally, I think when you just look at the economics, I mean, you might hate the truck. You might be like, that is the ugliest thing I've ever seen in my life. But, I was seeing like, I think Greg Wester or somebody just tweet like, 20% of their salary is going to the gas if you're, working with your truck. And, you just can't argue with economics like that. It's like, shit, if I'm going to save thousands of dollars, who cares what it looks like,
Exactly.
So what do you guys think about that?
I think that like with the trucks, the way they look today, I think they're quite ugly anyway. And, people have just been conditioned to accept that's the way they look and maybe even get to think that they look good, right? So I think the same thing's going to happen with the Cybertruck. Initially, maybe people don't like the look of it, but once they get all the benefits, especially the cost savings, and the gas savings, look at the cost of electricity compared to gas. I mean, it's at least, on the conservative end, it's going to be about a third the cost, right? Maybe even more than that. And then if you can also, add solar to your house and be getting it from a clean source, you've got your fuel source in your garage. For people that don't have electric vehicles and know what that's like, it's so liberating. You wake up every morning and you've got like, full tank of your energy, right? Of electricity. So, that's just something that is going to revolutionize all those contractors that right now.
Yeah, the problem with a lot of those guys, a lot of those traditionalists that have been truck drivers for a while, for them to understand that concept of gas versus electricity may not hit them up front, right? Just because they may say, yeah, it sounds like a better car, it doesn't look like something I'm used to, but that slapping point where it's kind of like, do you understand how much money you'll be saving because you don't have to fill up gas? They may not get that because they don't understand how charging works or where the superchargers are. And I think that's where the community is really important in just educating and continuously trying to share knowledge on electricity is not only better, but is in today's day and age doable, right? It is there. There are superchargers everywhere. It's not hard to charge. It's extremely easy. It's better. It's cheaper. And so I think that's where we need to go. But I think not only that, not only the traditionalists, but those baby boomers, maybe they may not buy, maybe it might be 50-50. I had a bunch of comments on my last video that was like, hey, I'm 57 years old. I've driven a Ram and I actually am going to get this, or I pre-ordered it. And so that was pretty cool. But I think the target, and Tesla might be really creative here, is going for next gen, right? And so the new millennials or whatever we're calling them, Gen Z or whatever the heck it is, but they're already growing up today. My daughter can tell you the name of my car, but not my wife's car, right? She says Tesla, and she's 2 years old, and so these kids are already being preconditioned that the car to get is a Tesla and nothing else competes. And as long as Tesla keeps putting out a model in every shape and form, i.e. now a truck, that kid that was from a truck family is going to get a Cybertruck.
Yeah, I mean, my son, he fell in love with it, and he's like, that's so awesome. And then he watches all these YouTube channels that are video game players, and there's one called Unstoppable Gamer, and I think he just started following Elon Musk after the unveiling. It's like they love the look of this truck. I mean, it's like you've seen the Halo renders of like, that's kind of what they had in mind. I mean, what do you guys think? What do you guys think about like attachments to this thing? Kristen, what do you think about like what would you attach to it? I don't know.
Well, I don't know what I would attach to it per se. I was thinking
add-on.
I don't know. I was thinking of the general contractors and the blue collar workers in general and work sites and just how efficient it's going to be. I think they're going to pencil out the numbers and start seeing within the next couple weeks how this is going to benefit them on the work site. But as for add-ons, I think we talked about the printer. Can you hear me?
ATV, that's crazy. I want to know more about that ATV. I want that thing, and we have no details on it. So yeah, I can't wait for that thing. Just load it up, plug it in, and everything else that you can plug into the power outlet and the compressed air. That's going to be a game changer for everybody.
And Elon did say that the ATV was only going to be available to truck orders initially, I think.
I love it.
You could probably pay for half the truck just by reselling the ATV. Think about it. Like,
and I'd be
interested want that ATV.
I don't know much about ATVs, but I don't know if it was really a quad because I did see a chain system on there. So I don't know if anybody on here knows more about ATVs.
There's been people online saying it's just a Yamaha, but I don't think that's true at all. Tesla have just made this. It's just not in.
Either way, it's cool.
Tesla's DNA.
I mean, definitely, I think the plug is one of the most interesting things on the truck. If you think about it as like an autonomous utility vehicle, and a lot of the discussion is missing the fact that 2021, 2022, autopilot is going to be extremely mature, if not like level 4, level 5, by the time this thing ships. I mean, we're supposed to get feature complete autonomy in the next, 5 to 10 weeks, Elon time, so give it another couple years. And then think about all the kind of autonomous things you can build, just plugging shit into the back. And, the Volt is also perfect for that. I mean, it's just kind of like a this is the first kind of vehicle Tesla's building, like, it's just an autonomous toolbox, kind of build your own, autonomous whatever. And, I think vehicle design is just they've just opened Pandora's box of autonomous vehicle design, right? And it's like, okay, cars are going to be different. Like, they're going to be driving around. Let's just build a really, really strong one that you can just beat the shit out of and send it out. It's got plugs in the back. You can kind of make it into whatever kind of autonomous utility you want. That's ultimately why I placed my order. I mean, I don't see myself really driving this truck, but it's like, in an autonomous world, this would be a great tool to have. Just kind of shuttle people around, throw stuff in the back, plug something in, and, make it just kind of like this autonomous utility. And you've seen all these companies kind of mocking up Cybertruck with their own branding, and like you can see the wheels kind of spinning in these people's head, like police, all these different companies, like they're thinking about what they can use Cybertruck for.
Yeah.
And that's really interesting. You don't really get that as much with the Model 3. Like people kind of have a hard time imagining a Model 3 as kind of like this workhorse autonomous vehicle because it's such a nice car, And so this was kind of their answer to that.
Yeah, I'd be curious. Like Omar, you told us yours, and Viv, you told us yours. But like, what was everyone else's kind of thought process behind ordering it? Like, what would you like? Yeah, what were your thought process behind it?
Vincent.
Well, I'll add a little bit to mine. Was I realized, hey, this thing goes 500 miles on a charge. I can use this and send people or things to the Bay Area or LA, which I do that trip a lot, without stopping. It's just like, boom, and that's right there. Pretty compelling.
That's pretty
for
slick.
people.
Yeah, I think like the Cybertruck, because the looks is really unique. So I think there's going to be a lot of company going to buy the truck just to promote their own company.
Right.
Yeah, because and also like the price point is like $50,000 for commercial use. Is really cheap when you think of like you don't have to pump the gas, how much you can save for the gasoline a year or throughout the 5-year ownership. It's a no-brainer at all.
Yeah, they'll outcompete anyone.
What about you,
without
Kristen?
a Cybertruck.
It was a great price, so I got one. I don't know what I'll do with it, but I'm sure I'll figure it out. I mean, what was the mileage on the ATV? Did they state that?
No,
I don't think we
data on
got
it.
any details. No.
No.
We know what
Okay.
it looks like, but
Yeah.
yeah, I think that with the truck, I mean, Omar and I were talking about it as well. Like, not only can you shuttle people around if you were using it for a robotaxi or whatever, but you can utilize that vault in the back that's fully lockable in a separate space for something totally different, like simultaneously. I mean, that has so many different applications. But I mean, what other truck can you lock the back of? No other, right? So if you think about it, I mean, that's just so many
And you
things.
can do it very remotely and autonomously, right? Like you could be far away and configure that, have someone drop something into the vault. You could move someone's cargo for them while also carrying 6 passengers, right? They had the $30,000 a year estimate for a Model 3 robotaxi. It's got to be at least $50,000 for a Cybertruck robotaxi, right? With the increased passenger space, the increased cargo room. I mean, they got the front, they got the bed, and they've got those weird side flaps where you can put even more cargo. So there's a lot of room,
And also,
I mean, you can imagine FedEx.
Inside the bed, they have that extra space too. So I mean, there's so much cargo space in that thing.
I think Tim Dodd, the Everyday Astronaut, also mentioned you can put Starlink, like the pizza box size antenna in there. It's way too big for other Tesla models, but it will fit onto the Cybertruck. So you can have like a high quality and high speed connection on the Cybertruck, which you can't really have on other Tesla models.
Totally.
I mean, you do have LTE, obviously, but we all know what connectivity can be like. So
there's so much possibilities, and also like the solar panel. I mean, the angular design that everyone's making fun of, you can't really put solar panels on a Model 3 or a Model S because those cars are curved. This is kind of like the first Tesla where we're seeing built-in solar power. It was always kind of natural with, the Solar City merger and Tesla Energy and all that for them to start kind of doing these things. But the angular design just ends up being kind of perfect for having a solar panel, and you can even imagine the suspension being kind of used to reposition it to capture the most sun. But like, this is a truck that you can just leave out there, right, in the middle of nowhere, and
Live
come
off the
back
grid.
a month later. No phantom drain.
Mad Max
It's fully
style.
charged.
Yeah.
Like that's
Even
pretty
if it gets
cool.
beat up, it'll look good. It'll have a Mad Max look.
Did Golly say that he ordered one as well? I didn't catch that.
Really?
I want to know what he's
Where
doing
would you
with
put
this.
it?
Nah, I didn't order one. I want to get an ATV though, Manhattan.
Oh, cool.
Just the ATV?
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, and
The
I was
electric
just
ATV could be his daily driver.
yeah, the
Manhattan.
ATV is my daily driver exactly. But no, I was thinking
With the
that
art-
with the solar panel, that the Cybertruck can like generate its own power, store its own power, and consume its own power, which is like the trifecta of Tesla products that they've squeezed into one. And it can drive itself. So it's got like, I was just thinking about, and like you're saying, the amount of different ways you could use that now that it goes off the grid and gets fully charged, like it's just hard to wrap your mind around. Like I feel like we have like we just kind of broke some law of like, wait, so I don't even need to plug it in and I can still use it. Like, has anyone fully comprehended that? Like factor that into the total cost of ownership as well, you know?
If your kids are 7 miles away from school, you can take them to school with autopilot, right? 15 miles, that should cover it. You never have to plug it in. That's some wild shit.
Well, you also saw like all these guys that would take pictures of sleeping in their Teslas, and they got the dream cases in there and all this stuff. Well, they were doing it. Can you imagine how much better, how much more enhanced now it is being able to really, really completely go off the grid? I mean, I could just imagine being camping out there, your car's just out collecting juice, and you're just chilling in your tent and cooking on your little kitchen stovetop that they're gonna sell as an accessory, and yeah.
And then you got your internet access with Starlink or whatever, so you can basically be just off grid but still connected to everything.
Yep.
Well, if you saw that camper attachment, it almost looked like they had 2 sleeping bags set up there, and we're just sleeping in the bed of the Cybertruck. I mean, a 6.5 foot bed. If you're under 7 feet, you can probably sleep in there. And this is kind of interesting, like. In the future, like an autonomous future, I wonder if like people will just live in these little autonomous houses.
I mean, if you're going long distance or something, you just can sleep in the back there. You got a perfect space for it. Car's going to take you there safely, and you end up at your destination. You wake up, and you got power. It's amazing. Yeah. I love it. You can plug all your stuff in back there as well when you're laying down, have your phone charging, whatever. So many.
You could plug in another Tesla that's dead.
Right.
That's true.
That's a great idea.
If you need to save someone. The roadside assistance of the future is like you run out of power, and then an autonomous Cybertruck just comes and opens its bed, and you just plug in until you have enough charge to get to the supercharger.
Yeah, I saw someone
maybe
say
AAA is going to invest.
For that reason.
What's that, Kristen?
I think Dean Fielding in England stated that he ordered it just for that reason because the buildings in England were harder.
Any final thoughts on the Cybertruck that you want to leave anyone listening to this, especially?
I have a final thought. That you guys gave me this idea when you were mentioning your kids and like their favorite streamers that were buying the Tesla. I feel like the just cultural relevance and marketing of this, like of it breaking the internet, is such a good thing for Tesla overall. And like it just seems like we hit a new level of hype with every single YouTuber tweeting about it, every single CEO saying they order one. Like it's just hard to imagine. I think. To me, it just saw Tesla kind of level up culturally with this moment, and I just think that's huge.
Omar, any closing thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, closing thoughts, like, this is just day one, right? Like, this vehicle platform, the electric platform, and the first electric platform, that's better than gas. It's not a compromise. We're going to make a series of electric vehicles that are better than gas, and this is just the beginning. Model Y is going to start shipping at the beginning of next year in 2020. Year after that, we've even if so, it'll be volume production in 2020. So 2020 we get Model Y. 2021, hopefully we're going to start to get the first Cybertrucks in the fall or end of the year. And then that's just the beginning. Okay, we've started addressing all the major vehicle segments. They all have autopilot. They all have safety features. And I mean, there's no other way to say it. Like, this is going to change everything. We're looking at just the twin revolutions of electrification and, autonomy hitting. It's just going to change the way everything is done. And you look at Tesla's master plan part 2, it was 4 things. Number 1, provide solar energy with integrated battery storage for people, which they've started doing with solar subscriptions and solar roof. Number 2, address all the available vehicle segments. And we've started seeing now how they're going to address all the available vehicle segments without spending a ton of money on CapEx. With the Model Y, they kind of shared a lot with the Model 3. With the Cybertruck, they did a lot of innovative stuff to bring the cost down. And then the other parts are self-driving 10 times safer than a human and enable your car to make money for you. So like we're really seeing them start to fill out the master plan part 2. And, this is it's going to be exciting to watch. This is just the beginning. We're looking at, 10 years of growth at least, just looking at these products that are in the pipeline.
Awesome. Thanks, Omar. And Viv, any closing thoughts?
I mean, it's really true what Elon said, that Tesla has the most exciting product and vehicle lineup on the market. And I think, like Omar said, most people underestimate just how huge the impact of autonomy is going to be, especially like on delivery services, like pretty much any delivery service you can come up with, and all the other applications. And I think it's a meme now. Like, people love to joke about the design and the broken glass and stuff, but it will change the world so much. I think people can't really comprehend that right now.
Sure. And Kristen, what do you think? Closing thoughts.
I think some people act surprised as if Tesla and Elon don't know what he's doing or they're doing. He's doing exactly, I think, as he's planned. It's phenomenal.
Thank you. And then Vincent?
Yeah, I think okay, because I'm looking at the data about last quarter, F-150, like F series from Ford, it takes them like 1 quarter, so literally like 3 months, to sell 214,000 F series pickup truck. For Tesla to get 250 pre-order, it only takes like 5 days. Just literally 5 days. Yeah, it takes, like, think of like how much money they spend on marketing to sell those 214,000 F series pickup truck, and think of like how much money Tesla spent, zero. It only takes like 5 days, and like it's not even on the street yet.
Yep.
I don't see the real demand will come until like everybody's driving just like the Model 3, like I don't order my Model 3 until I see one on the street. So I think the real demand will starting from 2021, end of 2021, and go on. Yeah, that's my
Totally
final thought.
true. Be bigger than anyone can imagine, probably.
Exactly.
Like, we're thinking about 1 million trucks a year as the ceiling. That's probably the base.
Dude, like no,
what
actually,
this
it's
is
like
going to do long term.
the top 3 of the U.S. top seller pickup truck, each quarter is selling about 500,000 units, U.S. only. That's the top 3. So if you add up like
Each quarter.
Yeah, so top 3 will contributing like 2 million units a year. So we still have like the 4th place from here where I see is about the Toyota Tacoma and
this
the
is in an
GMC
environment
Sierra.
where pickup trucks aren't allowed most places, right?
Exactly.
And we know that the Cybertruck's appealing to a lot of non-truck buyers too. So how big is this pie? We
Dude,
don't know.
I'm not a pickup truck guy. I order 2.
Yeah, same here.
Same here, man. Same here.
I mean, people were asking me, "Are you going to get a Cybertruck?" I was like, I'm not a truck guy. But then you see the specs, you just start thinking about what you can do. You're like 500 miles. It's got a power outlet. It's got autonomy. Shit, I could some things I could use one for.
Like people asking me like, "Are you gonna order a pickup truck?" I was like, "Yeah, because I promised Elon I'm gonna order one." So I have no choice, But like, dude, like after I saw the trucks, I was like, dude, I need one more, Actually, my company need one more, So that's why I ordered 2 pickup truck.
Awesome. What about you, Raj? Any closing thoughts?
Well, I ordered one, and the reason why I ordered one was because over an X or the pickup truck, I'm still getting the space, and so that's why I went with it. But I mean, you got to look at this pickup truck is truly a really big turning point. I mean, obviously Model 3 was a big turning point, but that was just getting a cheap car. Now it's cheaper, it's longer range, it's fast we had already figured out, but it's durable, right? And so like we've just hit so many marks that it's kind of like you really have nothing to argue against it now. Like this is really, Elon always talks about the hard smackdown to ICE vehicles. Like now you're like really, this is like the Mortal Kombat finish him move, It's like 500 miles? Are you nuts? Like Omar was saying, like to tell somebody, hey, you can get from San Francisco to LA without stopping. That's mind blown.
I would make one more point. Someone made the point that how much profit Ford gets from its F-150 product line?
Yeah.
110% of their profits. Okay? Yeah. So they're losing money on the rest of the business.
Yeah,
except for the
sedan,
F-150. And Ford has been the #1 best-selling brand in America since 1986. So really, you cut off 20% of the F-150's market share. And keep in mind, this is the most profitable 20%. That's the high end of the market. They're able to spend more. You cut off just a tiny slice of Ford's profit engine, it's going to be big trouble for the business. And that's why you're seeing them really go after Tesla head on, have their event in Hawthorne. You know, they're starting to worry. It hasn't been an issue so far. Tesla's been making luxury
They need to
sedans.
worry. Yeah,
Yep. They are worried, and they should be.
they should be.
The trouble is
And
they don't know how to go about it. Like, I mean, when I went and saw the Mach-E, yeah, I mean, it's great that they went to the effort to make that vehicle that it's based on the Model Y. I mean, clearly, right? So, I mean, but just the way they're going about it, it's like they got no heart, right? So they're not doing it for the same reasons that Tesla is. They're doing it begrudgingly, in my opinion. I mean, to the point where they're actually trying to get people to read a script as testimonials. I mean, it's that was ridiculous. I couldn't believe that they were going to ask me, who knew nothing about. Well, I know about it, but I haven't sat in one. I haven't played with it. I haven't driven one or anything. So it's like, why would you ask me and then ask me to read a script? It's like,
Wait, they asked you to read a script about the Mach-E?
Yeah, you didn't know that?
Oh, I missed that. That's hilarious.
Yeah, I was there at the LA Auto Show, and then they asked me. I saw this little picture on the side of the booth saying, "Check out Tesla or not Tesla, Ford's referral program." Yeah, Ford's referral program. I was like, so I started asking her about it. She's like, "Yeah, you can do this testimonial." And I was like, "What do you mean testimonial? I haven't even sat in it." And that was another thing. You couldn't.
Yeah, you have to pay. You have to pay $500 to order the car.
You got to order one before you can even sit in it, and it's like
it's ridiculous.
Tesla is like giving people test drives. They're letting you have the car without even being in there with you, so you can take the car, and they do overnights as well. So like, here's Tesla's just like, look, experience it. You'll understand what it's like. Ask us questions, and then it's really like the community. We all step up and we say like, yeah, we want to help. We want to show you because we love the car so much. But part of the reason that I wanted us to do this is to let everybody know we're real people. We don't do this, but no, Tesla doesn't pay us for doing this, but we do it because we love it and we believe in the mission, right? So I mean, how is Ford gonna, or anybody else, any other competitor, gonna be able to get the same level of customer support? I mean, they can't do it the way they're doing now.
Ford obviously did it as a response, but you just look at that 100 kilowatt-hour battery pack on a 300-mile SUV when Tesla's doing more range than that on a 75 kilowatt-hour pack. Yeah. And it just makes you wonder, what's their electric F-150 going to be like? If their battery advantage is so bad on the Mustang, which is an easy vehicle to do, how are they going to compete with a traditional design that has a ton of drag against the Cybertruck when their battery technology is already way behind to start? There's no way the electric F-150 is going to be able to compete with the Cybertruck. I would be very surprised.
It's like a Cyber Ford or something. They may just radically have to change their design to make it look like a Cybertruck.
Yeah.
But the customers are going to hate that.
Well,
true.
They hate the Mustang as well.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, they do.
That's what the lady at the booth said. She said the number one thing is they hated the design. They hated that.
There's a petition, like 10,000 people wanting to remove the Mustang name. Want the Mustang associated with this four-door, crossover-looking thing, you know?
SUV.
It's a big middle finger to the customers, right? Like, imagine if Elon brought out the Cybertruck and he goes, introducing the new Model 3 Mach-C. And we're like, what the fuck are you talking about? That is not a Model 3, right? It's like, people love their Mustangs. I saw a Mustang with like a custom license plate, you know? It was like Mustang or something like that. Like, it's kind of the same way about Tesla. Like, people love their Mustangs, you know? They're like, I love this car. And you just come out with something that's just, it's always been a 2-door. They're like, this is going to be a 4-door SUV. They said like the lamest thing in the thing. They're like, well, maybe you used to love your Mustang, but now you have kids. It's like, that sounds really depressing. Like, I just had kids and now I'm going to sell my Mustang and get this SUV. Like, damn.
And I think that's the key thing what Tesla have done with the Cybertruck. They've really created a whole new market segment, right? It's like something that didn't exist before, because now, like, you're going to have people that, you know, probably will get the Cybertruck for the utility reasons, because it's pickup. But then also people that like us that aren't truck people are getting it because we see the potential for all these other things and the range. So I mean, it's a very compelling product on all different levels, which I think is just good. Is opening it up to like unheard of success. So I mean, as we already see right now from the order numbers. So yeah, I'm super excited for the future, and I just love doing this podcast. I can't wait for us to do more. I mean, this is just based on the Cybertruck, but we're going to do tons more. So hopefully you guys, we can make this happen. And yeah, that's my closing thoughts. So, yeah, thank you all for making the podcast. I really appreciate it. And yeah, look forward to doing it again soon.
Yo.